The Varkari Dominion struck without warning. A lush human colony on the edge of the Perseus Arm, New Carthage, was reduced to ash in a single orbital sweep. Children in schools, miners in their rigs, farmers working the soil, none were spared. The Dominion's warlords transmitted the massacre across their empire, showcasing the destruction as entertainment. Behold, they sneered on their channels, the fragility of the Terrans. They play at empire, yet crumble like glass. The last surviving comms buoy from New Carthage sent out a single, fragmented message before it, too, was obliterated. We are still here. The feast of mockery. The Varkari celebrated, as only conquerors drunk on arrogance could. Great feasts filled their war halls. Captains toasted to the weakness of earth. Orators declared humanity would kneel, their fleets scattered, their resolve shattered. Across the Dominion's broadcasts, images of burning colonies replayed as propaganda, while alien children were taught the Terrans had been broken forever. Earth is civilized, the overlords boasted. They will sue for peace. They will whimper at our feet. They lack the hunger for vengeance. The galaxy watched in silence. Neighboring species, long wary of humanity's quiet rise, now whispered that perhaps the Terrans were indeed too restrained, too fragile. The Dominion's words carried the weight of truth, or so it seemed. For weeks there was nothing, no retaliation, no statement, no movement from Earth. The silence became the Dominion's song of victory. The breaking of silence. But silence is not weakness. Silence is the drawing of breath before the roar. Across Sol, vast orbital shipyards lit up. Forgotten codes were pulled from vaults. Dreadnoughts that had slumbered for decades were awakened, their hulls reforged, their reactors reignited. Civilian comms went dark, replaced by encrypted military channels. Entire star systems saw their skies filled with lines of fire as Terran fleets accelerated toward gathering points. Earth's colonies, long accused of being scattered and vulnerable, became staging grounds for something far greater: retribution. And when humanity finally spoke, it was not with diplomacy nor pleading. It was with a single broadcast sent across the stars, echoing in every language. You celebrated too early. Now you will learn what it means to awaken the patience of Earth. The March of Retribution. The Dominion scouts were the first to vanish. Entire reconnaissance wings slipped into the void, their last transmissions filled with static and screams. Trade fleets found their hyperlanes cut, their escorts torn apart by warships that materialized like phantoms. Then came the fleets. Human dreadnoughts, colossal vessels bristling with weapons, emerged from the dark between stars. Their numbers grew until suns themselves were eclipsed. Carrier groups released waves of strike craft like swarms of steel hornets, their trails streaking fire across the void. On the Dominion's frontier worlds, night skies became seas of fire. Terran marines descended in storms, clad in armor black as obsidian, moving with cold precision. Cities that once hosted feasts of mockery now drowned in silence as human boots thundered through their streets. For every child lost on New Carthage, 1,000 alien soldiers fell. For every farmer buried in ash, 100 Dominion war machines burned. The annihilation storm. The retaliation was not war, it was judgment. Entire Dominion fleets, once symbols of terror, disintegrated under the coordinated fury of Earth's armadas. Their shields shattered like glass under kinetic barrages designed to crack moons. Planetary defenses were torn apart from orbit, their screams of desperation lost in the thunder of mass drivers. At the Battle of Vihaltor Prime, the Dominion's Grand Fleet, 4,000 ships strong faced the Terran onslaught. The sky ignited. Human dreadnoughts advanced like leviathans, their guns spitting fire that turned cruisers into molten wreckage. In 3 hours, the fleet that had conquered half a spiral arm was nothing but drifting husks. Survivors begged for quarter, but the reply was merciless. No more warnings, no more mercy. Terran soldiers advanced across Dominion capitals, not with rage, but with cold determination. They erased resistance with clinical precision, as though each strike was the fulfillment of a grim ledger. The galaxy watched, horrified and awed. The patience of Earth had ended. The vengeance of Earth had begun. The aftermath of silence. When the fires finally dimmed, the Varkari Dominion was gone. Not crippled, not weakened, gone. Worlds once ruled by arrogance were left as husks, their rulers silenced, their fleets dust. Across the galaxy, whispers spread like wildfire. Refugees, merchants, even soldiers who had fled the storm all repeated the same truth. Never provoke Earth again. The galaxy learned that humanity was not fragile, nor too civilized to respond. Their patience was vast, yes, but their vengeance was infinite. Where once the Dominion mocked humanity as weak, now even the most powerful empires dared not speak Earth's name above a whisper. For in the silence of the void, every race remembered the lesson carved into the stars. Aliens celebrated too early, then humanity struck back. The Zorathi Armada descended upon Vera's dawn, a young human colony carved into the emerald plains of a distant star. Families were planting their first harvest, children learning under open skies, engineers shaping the beginnings of a city. It was fragile, hopeful, and human. The aliens came not with warning, but with laughter. Orbital strikes lit the sky, vaporizing silos and domes in fountains of molten glass. Their commanders broadcast the slaughter, ensuring nearby systems would see humanity humbled. In their eyes, Earth was weak, too soft, too civilized to ever retaliate with equal savagery. On the alien flagship, golden chalices clinked. The Zorathi High Lord grinned as the colony's final distress beacon was snuffed out mid-broadcast. "This is how humans end," he sneered, crying into the void. And as the colony's soil blackened, as tens of thousands of voices fell silent, the aliens celebrated. The feast of arrogance. Victory came easy, and arrogance grew thicker than the smoke still rising from the colony ruins. Across Zorathi territory, feasts and parades filled their cities. Songs mocked humanity, clever rhymes declaring Earth farmers of dust and keepers of toys. Hollow spectacles replayed the bombardment as entertainment, showing children cheering as human structures toppled. Their war council concluded that Earth would sue for peace, beg forgiveness, and withdraw from the outer stars. A strategist even declared, "Their hands are bound by morality. They cannot retaliate without breaking their own fragile laws." The galaxy listened. Other species nodded cautiously. Humanity had long been a rising star, peaceful traders with steel in their spine, but surely the Zorathi were right. Surely humans would endure their loss with silence. They celebrated too early. The silence before the storm. At first, it seemed the Zorathi were correct. Earth made no broadcast, no declaration of war. Weeks passed and trade continued. Ambassadors were calm, their voices steady. The galaxy exhaled, believing humanity had swallowed humiliation. But beneath that quiet, Earth stirred. In the cold reaches of Luna's shipyards, engines the size of mountains ignited. On Mars, dry dock gates opened, releasing vessels that had not seen starlight in decades. Entire asteroid belts vanished into construction zones, their ore transformed into armaments of war. Human fleets mobilized in silence, unannounced and unseen. Black-hulled dreadnoughts slipped into deep space, their drives masked until the moment of revelation. Generals spoke little, save for a single phrase whispered in every briefing. "This time, we do not stop." Across the galaxy, comms grew still. Merchant vessels reported human convoys moving like shadows, silent and endless. Those who listened carefully heard something strange in human transmissions, not pleas, not diplomacy, but a tone like a sharpened blade. The silence was not surrender, it was preparation. The first retaliation. The Zorathi learned this truth the moment their border fortress of Carthil Prime went dark. One night it stood a bastion of plasma turrets and shielded citadels. The next morning nothing remained but silence. No survivors, no distress call, only a drifting ruin, its core detonated with surgical precision. Then it happened again. A second fortress vanished, then a third. And finally, humanity spoke. The transmission was simple. One human voice, deep and calm, broadcast across every Zorathi channel. "You celebrated the deaths of our children. Now we come to collect the cost." The wrath of Earth unleashed. What followed was not war, it was annihilation. The human fleets did not march with hesitation.